In this week's episode of my Productivity Mastery series, I want to talk to you about a wonderful trick you can play with time management that's going to get to help you to do a lot of work in a lot less time. And that is taking advantage of Parkinson's law. Now, Parkinson's law, for those of you who don't know, means that time will expand to fit the work that you have to do. So if you've got 3 hours to change a light bulb in your living room, it will take you 3 hours to change the light bulb in the living room. Well, maybe. But let's give you a little bit more of a more serious example. Let's say you give yourself 90 minutes to clean your car. I can promise you it will take you 90 minutes to clean your car. Now, you could do just as good a job if you reduce that down to 1 hour. And this is a simple trick that you can use in all your day-to-day work and things that you've got to do. Now, the reason being is that our brains are terrible at estimating how long it will take to do a task. For most people, our brains are going to overestimate the time that's required in order to complete a task. So if you've got, say, 5 really important emails to reply to that need a lot of thinking and a lot of hard work, your brain is going to tell you you're going to need at least 90 minutes to do that. When in reality, if you reduced it down and gave yourself only 1 hour to do those 5 emails, I can guarantee you it will only take you 1 hour to do those 5 emails. Now, the reason why when I learned this was many years ago when I first came to Korea. Now, I'd worked in offices in the United Kingdom, and our start time was 8:30 in the morning and our finish time was 5:30 in the afternoon. And I can promise you at 8:29 a.m. I arrived at the door to enter the office. And at 5:29 p.m. my coat was on, my bag was packed, and I was ready to leave the office. Now, when I came over to Korea, I discovered that time is a lot more flexible, particularly the finishing time. And I found a lot of my students who had a finish time of, say, 6 p.m. regularly worked until 7 or 8 or even 9 or 10 p.m. And what was happening here is the finishing time over here was a lot more grayer than it was in the United Kingdom. So back over in the United Kingdom, it was very black and white. Start time, 8:30. I started at 8:30. Finish time, 5:30. I finished at 5:30. In Korea, it was a lot more flexible. But what was happening is that people were taking a lot longer to do the work, but they weren't necessarily working any less harder. It was just that they allowed themselves more time to do the work. But actually, if they gave themselves a deadline, and this frequently happened if, say, for example, there was a national holiday the next day and they wanted to get out of that office at 6 p.m., then they were always able to finish their work on time. And that's the thing. When you take advantage of Parkinson's law, you can start getting a lot more work done. And the reason why this works is by giving yourself that deadline, that tight deadline, you will focus a lot more on the work that needs doing and be less likely to be distracted. And that's why it works, and it works every single time. So if you don't believe me, I would strongly recommend that tomorrow take a task that would normally take you an hour or maybe 90 minutes and reduce it by, or if it takes you an hour, reduce it by 15 minutes. If it takes you 90 minutes, reduce it by 30 minutes. And I can guarantee you will finish that work on 1 hour or 45 minutes, depending on what time limit you set. It's a super trick. It really does work. And particularly on those days when you've got a lot of things to do, it's a great way to actually make yourself get the work done. And one more thing before we finish, I should suggest that what you should do is also schedule this onto your calendar. So just reduce it down to 1 hour or reduce it down to 90 minutes if it's a 2-hour task and see what happens. I can guarantee you will get the work done. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope you got some out of it. I really do hope you give it a try with taking advantage of the Parkinson's law. You'll be really surprised about how much work you can get done. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw and you would like to learn more about becoming better organized and more productive, then get yourself enrolled in my free beginner's guide to building your own productivity system. And if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you, then visit my website at carlpullein.com. All the details are in the show notes below.